Brilliance Audio.
To Make Men Free, A History of the Republican Party by Heather Cox Richardson. Performed by the author. In 1862, in the midst of the Civil War, Republican Justin Smith Morrill stood up in Congress to defend his party's novel invention, an income tax. The government had the right to demand 99% of a man's property, Morrill thundered. If the nation needed it, the property of the people belongs to the government. The Republican Congress passed the income tax, as well as a spate of other taxes, and went on to create a strong national government. By the time the war ended 3 years later, the Republicans had fielded an army and navy of more than 2.5 million men, had invented national banking, currency, and taxation, had provided schools and homes for poor Americans, and had freed the country's 4 million slaves. A half-century later, when corporations dominated the economy and their millionaire owners threw their weight into political contests, Republican Theodore Roosevelt fulminated against that small class of enormously wealthy and economically powerful men whose chief object is to hold and increase their power. Insisting that America must break up this class in order to return to an economic system under which each man shall be guaranteed the opportunity to show the best that there is in him, Roosevelt called for government to regulate business, prohibit corporate funding of political campaigns, and impose income and inheritance taxes. He demanded a square deal for the American people. In the mid-20th century, Republican President Dwight Eisenhower reiterated the earlier Republican calls for economic opportunity and applied them on an international scale. Believing that economic inequality bred war and that in the nuclear age war threatened humanity itself, Eisenhower sought to prevent international conflict by raising standards of living everywhere. He recoiled from using American resources to build weapons alone, warning, "Every gun that is made, every warship launched, every rocket fired signifies, in the final sense, a theft from those who hunger and are not fed, those who are cold and are not clothed." He called for government funding for schools, power plants, roads, and hospitals. At these crucial junctures in American history, Republicans have taken the stand that economic opportunity is central to the American ideal, and that it is government's responsibility to make it possible for everyone to rise. At other times, the Republicans have thrown their support behind America's wealthiest men. Congress has passed laws that benefit businessmen, has even permitted businessmen to write legislation, and has blamed those who fell behind for their own poverty. While claiming to be championing laissez-faire government, Republicans and the policies they pursue have been anything but even-handed. They have protected an increasingly small population at the expense of America's majority. Over the 160 years of their history, Republicans have swung from one pole to another. Sometimes they have been leftists, sometimes reactionaries. Today, once again, the Republican Party has positioned itself on the far right. How did the Republican Party, the party of Abraham Lincoln, Theodore Roosevelt, and Dwight D. Eisenhower, become the party of today? The journey has not been straightforward. Since its formation in the 1850s, the party has, in 3 different eras, swung from one end of the political spectrum to the other. In each of these cycles, Republicans have replayed the same pattern. In their progressive periods, they have expanded the vote, regulated business, and raised taxes. As a result, wealth became widely distributed and the economy strong. Yet each time the party has sponsored progressive legislation, it has sparked a backlash from within its own ranks. After Lincoln, and after Roosevelt and Eisenhower as well, Republican leaders gradually turned against their own reforms in favor of protecting the interests of the rich.